So I'm gonna answer the question because I know it's out there, and just want to ask, not on a comment though, on a private message. How the hell do you go from being a communist, atheist, materialist, dialectical materialist to being Orthodox, or going back to orthodoxy, or however you want to phrase it? Well, going from belief to unbelief to belief. And when I believed, I had fear and doubt and infinite eternal death was far more terrifying than any hell could possibly be. Existence is better than non-existence, just to put it bluntly. That's what drove me away. Corrupt bishops, blah 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 blah, going on. Everything that drove me away. Watching a lot of Christopher Hitchens. Loved everything I saw by Christopher Hitchens. The the movie by Bill Maher, Religulous, fantastic movie. I laughed so hard. And but why come back? Well, communism I had already thrown away a while ago. I'm already ex-communist years now. As for the atheism, when I finally became an atheist, I figured, you know what? It was almost kind of a. I had already decided, you know what? Either God is love and He likes me, or God is this wicked judge in the sky who was just beside himself with anger and hatred. And a lot of the stuff in the way the master drove me there. Because it's if he's an evil son of a bitch, then I'm screwed. Doesn't matter. Okay, well then I can do whatever I want. Or I could do this. Still not. Nothing could violate my salvation. And once you go to that once saved, always saved, it can go into atheism. So it just became nothing. It was meaningless. And just all shattered. There is nothing. We're just animals. That's it. Computers, an organic computer that just woke up. And it's a horrific nightmare, the fact that something is finite and lives in a world with death surrounding it. And it just becomes conscious. It's the most wicked, cruel joke you could ever play on anything. And nobody's there to laugh at us. It's just sick. There's nothing observing us. If the mind is only the brain, and that's it. And a lot of deaths happen in the family, and people say, "Do you think that?" I said, "I don't believe in it." It's kind of a cold thing to say to somebody, but it's the truth. Where's grandma? It's dead. But I'd phrase it better than she's in our hearts. She lived because we carry her genetics. I looked at hope in genetics and survival. It wasn't all dark nihilism. You'd have to be psychotic and irrational to be a nihilist these days because we already have evolution and all that stuff in mind. Or you just have to be a narcissist to be a nihilist. And I love the way that the new atheists, quote unquote new atheist, is the other guy puts them, Harris, Dennett, Dawkins, and Hitchens, don't despise nihilism and actually attack it. But with all this materialism, no God, no controller, uh, the yoke of faith. I didn't really, because religion were organizations to me. It was faith that was the problem. Doubt was the strength. Still believe that. But why not a materialist anymore? Certain things, uncomprehendable things I just couldn't grasp. The only folly of my human nature was really getting to me. And there was a point, I read the Satanic Bible, I thought that was beautiful. Because I read Ayn Rand, and I was like, yeah, this is mostly right, but it just doesn't jive with humanity. She wants robots walking around, or just something. It just seemed too stark and too cold. You know, all the characters in her books are these cold, calculating people who do nothing out of emotion, and that seemed irrational to me because our emotions are here for a reason. You know, if you look at some of the stuff that people call logic that existed, you know, at the time of the Age of Enlightenment or before, or even up to the 19th century, they thought they were so smart. They were actually kind of too smart for their own good because they were stupid. The only wisdom we have is to know how stupid we are. And I accepted the fact that, like Freud said, and Christopher Hitchens repeats, as long as we remain a stupid, poorly evolved race, and we're afraid of the dark, and we're afraid of the die, and we're afraid of the dark, and we're afraid to die, and we believe in the truths of our own holy books that are so stupid that even a child can, and obviously does, by his questions, see right through them. So man is doomed to religion. There's no escaping it. And it started to get it seemed extremely illogical to me that, you know, okay, I'm going to become an atheist and then leave religion when it's an absolute necessary part. It's something it's a gene that survived in us. Why did the religious monkey out survive the atheistic monkey? Because we all have tendencies for religion. Even political movements turn into religion in the sense of anthropology or sociology. They become that. They take on the forms and the rhetoric of religion. So we're doomed to be religious, even if we're atheists. And if you're an atheist, you're denying something basic in you, like the Christians deny lust. There is a point when you need to meditate, when you need to have awe, the luminous, all these things. Christian goes into it, says, yeah, we have that. You know, I couldn't live without that. Couldn't live without the King James Bible and John Donne's poetry. You know, he when nobody else can make a good enough case against him, he actually preempts it. He actually makes it for him. He says there's no reason to discard that. And man is a very ritualistic being. And if you have total chaos and things like this, it starts to make you go insane. Just like I heard of experiments, I don't know if they were really true, where they tried to raise children without mothers touching them. You know, give them all the food and everything, but without affection, they died. And it's totally believable because you can die from from fear. You can die from depression. Things can overwhelm you to a point where you just shut down. It sounds very mystical, but it's in fact true. And we're healthier beings when we're happy, and the things that make us happy help us to survive. Well, I know that's kind of long and kind of drawn out, but that's what was going through my head at the time. At the same time, I had certain, I don't know, thoughts or beliefs. They can't even be called thoughts or beliefs. Just like the tiniest inkling of things. Whether it was, you know, when I was reading something, just day-to-day life, or even in dreams, that just didn't seem to match up. It didn't click with the material world just right. And certain aspects of prayer. And I know I do the Tricyan prayers, which is morning, noon, night. It's formal, it's set. Whenever I do those, it's a type of meditation. So I started doing those again, just because the benefit was better than me going, nah, because it was so ingrained in my life for so long. Imagine somebody raised Muslim, then going to other religions. Always, whenever I went to a liturgical free service, it just seemed disgusting. And these people seemed the most starved human beings because they were all on emotion. They're running all on emotions. I think that's what makes the fanatics fanatics, because they can't embrace any form of mysticism, which is purely human. So I started doing those, and just things about it that just didn't seem to add up right. And the fact that whether man made the Christian religion or God did, it was still chaotically designed that it meets the needs almost perfectly. Why would 2 billion people go so far wrong? And if you look at a religion comparatively close to it, I know Christians and Muslims disagree, but Islam. So you have half of the world's population, 3 billion people, in these liturgical religions. Well, that's a trend. You got to look at that and say, well, something's going on there. There's some type of beneficial thing there. People are drawn to this. And I was thinking, okay. And I started going through a lot of the mythology, because as you know, I never believed the Old Testament was, many parts of it were not given by God, obviously, the way I think. And that the New Testament wasn't this idol that the fundamentalists make it out to be. So I had a pretty easy look at that. You couldn't just pull one thing out and everything would fall apart. It was a lot of things existing independent of each other and not gonna just ruin if one thing breaks. And a lot of the other people would fall away at my church who were adamant atheists say, yeah, but if I had to believe, it would be back to Orthodoxy because it had the correct worldview. They'd say it'd either be Hindu or Orthodox, which I will get into. This video is running kind of long though, and I don't want to cut it off at mid-idea. Before I go into the second part, I'm just going to stop here, and I will pick it up in part 2. Thank you.